Hey! Today we're going to look at multiplication, specifically the standard written method for multiplication. So we're going to just jump in straight away here. I've got myself a multiplication calculation right here. So it's always worth, before starting calculations, working out where our place value columns are. So our first number, 2,544, the last four here is in the units column, the next four is in the tens column, the 5 is in the hundreds column, and the 2 is in the thousands column. And of course the single digit we've got here is in the units column. So we have a 4-digit number here multiplied by a single digit. Now with all these multiplication methods, possibly barring a few, essentially it all comes down to multiplying each part of one number with each part of the other number. So in this case, what we would do is multiply the 6 by the 4 units, multiply the 6 by the 4 tens, multiply the 6 by the 5 hundreds, and multiply the 6 by the 2000s, by 2000. So essentially what we're doing is 6 times 4, 6 times 4 tens, which is 40, or 4 tens, 6 times 500, or 5 hundreds, depending on how you want to look at it. Essentially they should mean the same thing. And then finally 6 multiplied by 2000, or 2000s. So pretty much every method you use, or we use, uses this kind of structure where you're multiplying one part of the number by every part of the other number. The way they go about that is slightly different in each case. So one way that we are using this is with our standard written method, which I'm just going to copy this so we can get it onto a new slide. Okay, so how do we go about using the standard written method? Well, the first thing, like we did before, we need to just secure ourselves in knowing which columns each of the numbers is. So the 4 is in the units, 4 is in the tens, 5 is in the hundreds, and the 2 is in the thousands column. Then we're going to lay out our numbers in their place value. So I always tend to just draw myself a little place value chart so I don't get lost as we're going along. Now I can see this is a fairly big number. I think we're going to need a 10,000s column here. Then we take, it doesn't really matter, but I suggest you take the first number and place it underneath the place value and chart headings that you've got here on top. Then we're going to place the 6 underneath to let us know what we're multiplying by, and I'm going to put a multiplication symbol here just so I don't forget that I'm doing multiplication and slip off into division or addition or something like that. And then what we're essentially going to do is, like we did in what we just went through, we're going to take the 6 and we're going to multiply it by each part of the top number. So we're going to start off by multiplying the 6 by the 4 units here. So we're going to start off by doing 6 times 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. Now we're going to write the answer underneath. Now because this method uses place value, it's not a very straight line. Oh well. This method uses place value. I can't just put 24 units in the units column. What I have to do is I then have to do, just like in the addition column method, I'm going to transfer those 2 tens that we had there, the 2 tens there, and I'm going to move them into the tens column. I'm going to place them just underneath. Now I know in addition sometimes we do it on top, it's just it gets a little bit easy up there if we do that. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do, like we had a look before, we're going to multiply 6 by the tens column. So in this case 6 times 4 tens. So 6 times 4 tens. and again that's 24. Now in this method you can look at it as not just 24 but 24 tens. What it is actually is 240, but in this terms we can think about it in terms of it being 24 tens. So I could put 24 tens down here. Now what I'm going to need to do next is add on the 2 tens that I moved from my first calculation. So 24 tens plus 2 tens gives me 26 tens. Now once again, I can't have 26 in a column in place value because those two actually now represent 200s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like I did before, I'm going to move those 200s into the hundreds column there. And I'll remember to add those in a minute. So then we move on to the next column, which is our hundreds column. So we're going to multiply the 6 by the hundreds. So 6 times 5 hundreds. So 6 times 5 is 30. So what that would be 30 hundreds. Now, if we're looking at it in terms of place value, that's what it would be. As a number, it would be obviously 3,000, but it would be 30 hundreds. Now, again, I've got 2 down here, so I'm going to add the 2 onto my 30, so that'd be 32. Now, as before, I can't keep these three, these are actually thousands, 3,000s in this column. I can only go up to a 9 here. So what I'm going to do, like I did before, I'm going to move those 3,000s, or those 30 hundreds, if you want to look at it like that, into the next column here, like that. Then I'm going to move on to my next column, which is my thousands, and I'm going to multiply the 6 by the thousand. So 6 times 2,000. So 6 times 2 is 12, so it'd be 12,000. Then I've got the other 3,000 that I moved in here, so it's 12 plus 3, which gives me 15,000s. Again, I can't have 15 in the column, so I'm going to move that 10,000 there as it is now, or 10,000s into the next column, like so. Now, I've run out of things to multiply. I've now multiplied the 6 by each part of the top number, so I'm just going to move this one up into its place value, which is in the 10,000s column. Okay, and that gives us our answer, which is 15,264. Now always remember to answer your calculations. I'm just going to put this at the top, like so. And I'm just going to go back and check that. So 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 4 is 24, plus the 2, which gives me 26. I'm going to carry those 2 tens, those 200s over. Then 6 times 5 is 30, plus the 2 is 32. Carry the 3,000s over. And 6 times 2 is 12,000s, plus the 3,000 gives me 15,000. Move the 1 over and place it there. So I believe I am correct. And that's how you can use the standard written method to multiply by a single digit. In the next video, we'll have a look at how you can use the method to multiply by a 2-digit number. Thanks for watching. Have fun with your standard written methods.